There's something truly disturbing about watching a carefully crafted story begin to crumble, especially when it's one that's been accepted without question for years. That's exactly what's happening now with Meghan Markle and the birth of her son, Archie. For the longest time, the narrative was simple. Meghan gave birth, photos were released, the palace issued a statement, and the world moved on. No one questioned it. Until now. Because suddenly, a bombshell revelation from the very hospital Meghan claimed to have used has thrown everything into doubt. And it's not just a small detail. It's the kind of twist that could unravel the entire story.
Don't fabricate a story and then change it and lie. Straight up lie that she's in labor when Archie's already been born for several hours. Don't do that.
They're now saying they have absolutely no record, none whatsoever, of Meghan ever being admitted, giving birth, or even setting foot inside the hospital. Not on that day. Not on any day.
$28 for Chateau Meg, aren't they?
Even her kids are fake produce, it turns out.
Well,
we don't know
looks
that.
like they could be.
Now hold on a second. This isn't some wild Reddit theory or internet gossip. This is coming straight from an official institution. A hospital with surveillance, security logs, medical records, staff check-ins, the works. And they're saying Meghan's name never appeared, not once. That's not a small oversight. That's a direct contradiction to the story Meghan and Harry have been telling since 2019.
She doesn't want anything to do with her own children. They are props in this whole PR game that she is playing to make her look like a loving mother.
Let's take a moment to really think about this. This isn't a rumor from a gossip blog or a theory floating around Reddit. This is coming directly from an official source, a hospital, a place with 24/7 surveillance, patient logs, medical records, staff rosters, all of it. And according to them, Meghan Markle was never admitted, never gave birth, never even walked through their doors. That's not just a small inconsistency. That's a direct contradiction to the story Meghan and Harry have stood by since 2019. And when your entire post-royal identity is built around the idea of authenticity, being caught in a lie this massive hits differently. People had doubts even back then. Meghan appeared radiant in those first baby photos. Too radiant, some said. Perfect makeup, no signs of exhaustion, and curiously, no hospital in sight. At the time, most brushed it off. Maybe she bounced back quickly. Maybe her glam team worked miracles. But now, as those old doubts are being revisited in light of this missing hospital documentation, everything suddenly looks very different. And that's just the beginning. The timeline surrounding Archie's birth has always felt off. First, the palace announced Meghan was in labor. But then, just hours later, they said the baby had already been born. No details, no clear timeline. Then came the couple's first public appearance with Archie. Meghan and Harry appeared smiling, cradling their newborn. But there were no photos of them leaving a hospital, no footage of their car arriving, no bustling maternity wing, just a quiet, tightly controlled moment. Compare that to the births of Princess Diana and Kate Middleton, public, traditional, and well-documented. Walk into the hospital, deliver the baby, then proudly emerge, child in arms, waving to the cameras and to the public. Meghan and Harry broke that tradition. And breaking tradition isn't necessarily suspicious, but when there's no official medical record, no clear photographic trail, no full birth certificate, suddenly it starts looking less like privacy and more like concealment. Naturally, questions followed. Was it a home birth? A private hidden wing of some elite clinic? Or something even more discreet, like a surrogate? That last theory once sounded like outrageous tabloid fodder. But with every layer of secrecy being peeled back, it doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. Because if Meghan didn't give birth at the hospital, she claimed, then where did the birth happen? Did it happen the way they said it all? And then there's the footage. Clips from her pregnancy where her baby bump seems to move strangely. In some videos, the bump appears high and full. In others, it seems to flatten or shift. In one now viral clip, the bump even appears to fold as she sits down. Back then, critics were dismissed. Bad camera angles, awkward clothing, that's what people said. But now, those same clips are being re-examined frame by frame. And the question isn't, what was she wearing anymore? It's, was that bump even real? What's most alarming isn't the speculation itself. It's the silence. Meghan's team hasn't addressed the hospital's statement. Not even a vague denial. And if you've followed her media strategy, you know that silence is often intentional. She waits. She listens. Then she reemerges in a carefully staged interview with soft questions and flattering lighting. But this time, the story may be too big to contain. The British monarchy runs on tradition. Every royal birth, from Prince William to Prince George, has followed a familiar pattern. Birth at a respected hospital, photos on the steps, names released with just enough delay to build intrigue, and a birth certificate to close the loop. But with Archie, the entire script was thrown out. There were no hospital doors, no media crowd, no public moments. Just a vague announcement and a quiet, behind-the-scenes birth, or so we were told. Now that the hospital in question has denied Meghan was ever there, the rumors aren't whispers anymore. They're headlines. And here's the real issue. This isn't about disliking Meghan. It's about facts. It's about the integrity of the royal line. Because if Archie wasn't born the way we were told, then questions about his place in the line of succession are no longer just tabloid drama. They're constitutional. Even the birth certificate raised eyebrows. Yes, it was eventually released. But instead of providing clarity, it created more confusion. Meghan was listed as Rachel Meghan, Her Royal Highness. But key details were missing. No hospital location, no named physician. For a family that typically documents every step from labor to leaving the hospital, the lack of transparency felt intentional. And maybe it was. Now, palace insiders are leaking whispers that even senior royals were puzzled by the secrecy. Quiet conversations were reportedly had. Some speculated Meghan might have used a surrogate. That's not illegal. It's not even uncommon. But if that's the case, why go to such lengths to hide it? Why stage months of glowing maternity photos, lavish baby showers, and curated public appearances? It's a question that refuses to go away. And with each passing day, the silence only makes the truth louder. Soft focus interviews, carefully lit camera angles. For Meghan, it's always been about the story, the image, the brand. A fairy tale pregnancy, followed by the birth of a royal child, sells far better than a sterile, behind-the-scenes surrogacy bound by legal silence and NDAs. Now, let's be clear. If Meghan chose surrogacy, she had every right to keep that decision private. Protecting the surrogate's identity, entirely understandable. But pretending to be pregnant? That's not privacy. That's performance. That's deception. And it changes everything. Now imagine being Prince Harry, a man born into a life where everything, every step, every breath, is documented and choreographed. He's loyal to a fault, especially when it comes to Meghan. But how much did he actually know? Was he part of the act from the beginning? Or was he fed the same version of the story the public got? Some say he knew and went along with it, trying to protect their peace. Others believe he may have genuinely believed the version Meghan told. But one thing is becoming painfully clear. Whatever the real story is, it was never fully shared with the world. And that silence, that intentional gap between what was told and what actually happened, has become fertile ground for speculation, doubt, and mistrust. Because this isn't just about Meghan, and it's not just about whether she gave birth. It's about why it matters. Archie isn't just any child. He's a member of the British monarchy. His title, his place in the line of succession, carries constitutional weight. If the story of his birth is compromised, so is the legitimacy of everything that came after it, every photo, every public appearance, every interview. Suddenly, it all feels like it needs an asterisk. That's the danger when the truth becomes a PR strategy instead of a foundation. And the silence? It's deafening. Neither Meghan's team nor the palace has issued a denial, a clarification, not even a vague nod to privacy. And the longer they stay quiet, the more the public fills in the blanks. The longer they delay, the more damaging the speculation becomes. Because when you don't control the narrative, someone else will. The controversy surrounding Archie's birth isn't fading. It's escalating. People want answers, not more curated moments. Old footage is resurfacing, clips showing Meghan walking in heels during her so-called final trimester, her stomach visibly shifting as she moves. Another clip shows her sitting down and the bump folds. Once dismissed as optical illusions or wardrobe malfunctions, these moments now feel like missed red flags. Social media is ablaze with side-by-side comparisons. Analysts are reviewing every gesture, every outfit, the position of her hands on her stomach. Was she lovingly cradling a baby bump or adjusting something that mimicked one? What were once fringe theories from obscure corners of the internet are now front and center, picked up by mainstream platforms. And it's not just the public digging. Former royal staff are reportedly baffled by the lack of documentation surrounding Archie's birth. For a family that follows protocol to the letter, the gaps here are hard to ignore. And here's the truth. Had Meghan used a surrogate and been honest about it, the world might have accepted it, even embraced it. Surrogacy isn't scandalous anymore. Many high-profile women have gone that route and been praised for their transparency. But this isn't about method, it's about performance. Pretending to be pregnant, walking red carpets, hosting baby showers, staging glowing maternity photos. If it was all an act, it's not just misleading, it's manipulation. A production designed to sell a story, not share a truth. Then there's the legal side. If Archie wasn't born of Meghan's body, and if that detail was deliberately obscured, what does that mean for his royal standing? His title? His succession rights? The monarchy doesn't operate on vibes. It operates on lineage, legitimacy, and rules. The Queen herself signed off on Archie's title. Did she know the truth? Or was she kept in the dark like everyone else? And the whispers are growing louder. Some say the surrogate wasn't even from the UK. She may have been part of a private, international arrangement, bound by strict NDAs and legal contracts. That could explain the missing hospital records, the absence of any hospital entry or exit, the strange secrecy in those crucial early days. Because the less you show, the less you have to explain. Meanwhile, Meghan's PR machine, usually fast, polished, and relentless, has gone silent. No statements, no interviews, nothing. And that silence, it's becoming damning. When you leave the public in the dark, the narrative writes itself. And even Meghan's most loyal fans are starting to question everything. Was the Oprah interview completely authentic or carefully rehearsed? Were her mental health struggles shared for support or for sympathy? What else has been crafted to fit the brand instead of the truth? At the center of it all is Archie, a child caught between two worlds, one built on centuries of royal tradition, the other on Hollywood storytelling and Instagram perfection. And if the truth ever comes out, and it's looking more and more like it might, it won't just shake Meghan's public image. It could send shockwaves through the monarchy itself. Because Meghan didn't just build a brand. She built it on the idea that she was silenced, and then found her voice, that she had nothing to hide. But now, the question everyone's asking is, if this story was a lie, what else was? And more importantly, why go to such great lengths to hide something so human?